Hey guys, it's Miss Russell. I am going to show you a project that we're actually going to work on all year long. It's called an altered book. So an altered book means that we are taking an old book that would have otherwise ended up in the dump, and we are going to use it kind of like a sketchbook. So with a sketchbook, sometimes we'll draw some of our ideas into this book. Sometimes we'll just create our entire project inside this old book. These books, like I said, they were headed to the dump, and we're gonna save them from going there by turning them into a project. Today we're going to start by designing the front cover of our book. You'll notice that I have my last name as the front cover. And then if you look close, I'm hoping you'll be able to tell that I've included the rainbow. So the rainbow, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. Your front cover must show the rainbow, and it must have your last name really big and bold. The spine, so this is the spine of the book right here. Let's see, I might have it upside down for you guys. The spine needs to have your first name, and it needs to be really easy for me to see and read. Nice, big, bold letters, make it really easy. I didn't add a design to my spine because it's really thin and it would be really hard for me to see your name if you had too many designs. So I want your first name on the spine, and then I want your last name to be part of the front cover. And I want that last name to be right at the bottom, really big and bold. Now, let's talk about how you're going to turn an old book into your sketchbook. We're going to start with everyone's going to get a random book that I give you. Some of them are bigger than others. It really won't matter as long as it's got a nice hardcover like this so that we can keep all of our creations. So why would we have a bunch of books from the library that were headed to the dumpster? Well, let's think about it. We learn and information changes. So most of these books are what we call outdated. The book that I used here is actually a book about science and technology. So if you were to look through this book, it would talk to you about robots, it would talk to you about space, but it is all things that we knew back in the 80s, because this book was made in the 80s. Most of you weren't born. The internet was not really accessible to us back in the 80s. This was before cell phones. So all of this information is pretty outdated. And that's why these books are being sent out to the dump, and we're going to use them. So to get started, you're going to have your book, whatever book it is, I will randomly give you. You're going to, now there's a million ways we could do this. We could paint over the front covers, but with the time frames that we have in our classroom, it's going to be easier to cover up the front cover simply by gluing a new piece of paper on top of it. The front covers are really hard to design because usually they're really nice and slick like this so that they last longer. So gluing a new piece of paper over is going to be our easiest method, and that's what we're going to do. You're going to take your book. Some of you will need small pieces of paper. Some of you will need a larger piece. So the book that I did on my first example, I used a 12 by 18 piece of paper because this book is kind of big. But this one here, it's much smaller. So I'm going to use a piece of 8 by 10. The first thing that I need to do for my glue to actually work on this book is that I need to rough it up just a little. So I'm opening my scissors, and you need to be careful, but I'm gonna take my scissors, now that they're open, I'm gonna hold them really firm. I'm gonna make sure that my fingers are not in the way. Keep your fingers off to the side. And I'm just gonna drag my scissors across the front of this book and really kind of scratch it up. And that's gonna help the glue stick to my book. So I'm also gonna flip it over, and I'm gonna do the same. Watch what you are doing. There is no reason to have any cuts from this if you're careful. So all I did was add some scratches to the book so that my glue will stick. The next thing I'm going to do is to see how this piece of paper fits onto the outside of the book. It might not cover all of it up, and that's okay. I just want it to cover a majority of it. So if I take this paper and I see how it folds over to the back, it won't quite cover up all of the back. That's fine. I can come through with marker and fix that later. I'm gonna try and center it on my book so that I have a little bit of the front of the book and a little bit of the back of the book that doesn't quite get covered up by this piece of paper. Now that I see how it's actually going to fit on my book, I am going to crease it by running my fingers up and down on that spine, and that's gonna help me know where my piece of paper is going to go because I need to add some glue. I forgot to rough up the spine, so I will take my scissors and once again try and make some marks so that my glue will stick. Otherwise that slick surface will cause my glue not to really do much. Watch what you are doing. There's no reason for cuts. Before I actually glue this down, I need to design it, because once I glue it down, if I try and draw on this paper or color on this paper, if it's the same day that I glued it, well, it's gonna be wet and it's probably going to rip. So I don't wanna glue this paper down until it's right at the end of class. I'm just going to set this, no, I'll keep them together as I design. So, as I told you at the beginning of the video, I want you to design the outside of the cover. I want your last name to be at the bottom. And I want to see a rainbow design. So I don't want to see pictures, drawings. I want it to be a design. I don't know how you're going to show the rainbow. Maybe you'll do paint splatters that go across the page in the rainbow. Maybe you'll do a tie-dye swirl effect that shows the rainbow. But I want to see that you know the order of the rainbow. So once again, you see what I did here, and I just kept mine really simple, nice, big, bold stripes of the color. But then I came and I tried to make it more like paint drips of the rainbow. So think to yourself, take some time and figure out how you're going to show the rainbow. I've used marker to color mine in. You guys could use marker, crayon, whatever it is you choose. We're not going to use paint on the outside. We'll save that for a little bit later. Take your time. Write your name nice and neat. I should easily be able to read that. And once again, I want to see your first name on the spine of the cover. Once again, bold, thick letters. I look forward to seeing what we do throughout the school year with this project. At the end of class, even if you're not done coloring in your rainbow, that is okay. But at the end of class, before you leave, I want you to go ahead and take that glue and glue your front cover to the outside. When I do that, I'm going to use nice thick lines of glue right at the edge of my paper. Go ahead and take it off that book so I can do both sides. Make sure and run the glue up the spine. So that's the center of this paper. And then I'm just gonna smear some glue throughout it so hopefully it will hold on better. And take it, put it in there, and really rub it down. If any glue comes out the edges, that is perfectly fine. Just make sure and wipe it away so that it doesn't get inside your book. And we're going to work on all kinds of stuff with this altered book throughout the school year. I look forward to seeing what you guys create.